All right. Hi, guys. Can everybody hear me? Lovely. I'm still figuring out how does this setup work. So my name is Mikhailova. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today. I work at EPAM as a strategist and innovation consultant for the past 2 years, focusing on generative AI solutions and helping businesses to understand how we can bring most value to the people with AI solutions we are developing. So I'd like to start with asking a question. How many of you have ever had a meaningful conversation with a chatbot? And if you found yourself in a situation when you would, I know, call a call center and be stuck with talking to the bot that continuously asks you, I've been there myself last week. I'm in the Netherlands for 5 years now. And I was applying for a Dutch passport. So I called municipality, and the point of telling this is for sure not to trash municipality, but to say that it wasn't really pleasant experience of talking to a bot for like 10 minutes waiting for the person. So how many of you have ever had a meaningful conversation? Great. Couple of you. I'm curious to hear what about, right? If you talk to the chatbot, so maybe we can chat later, and I'll see what's it about. And more important question is how can we bring meaning and depth to those conversations? Or in other words, how to design meaningful innovation that resonate with people and create long-term value. For some reason, I don't see the screen here as I was supposed to see it. Maybe Alex or somebody else from technical team could have a look at the presentation mode. All right, I think the guys don't hear me. Yeah, maybe somebody can call them, sorry. Okay, I will just go on like this. So when we talk about AI, I think it's very useful to always start with the AI breakdown, and I find this visualization super useful. It was made by Gartner, and it basically explains that AI comes in 2 flavors. There is everyday AI, and game-changing AI. Everyday AI is like your productivity partner. So if you think of any engineering task automation, like anomaly detection or automated code review, thank you for fixing the slide, awesome, sorry. Well, if you think any of those, this would lay in the back office. In the front office, think of relatively simple implementation features, but that are client-facing. For instance, it could be automatic feedback generation analysis, or if you have a product description and you translate it for different languages and adjust it to different segments using LLMs. On the other hand, we have game-changing AI. And game-changing AI goes far beyond making us more effective or more productive. It's about creating a whole new types of value, new products, new services, new business models. And what we see today, that 80% of companies and 80% of CIOs and tech leaders, they really focus on this productivity side, which is good. I mean, we have to do it, right? Eventually, all of us will be using Gen AI features like we use today Microsoft Office. However, it will not bring you competitive advantage, but you will need it to remain competitive. So if we look at the impact of generative AI solutions, it is pretty much reversed. So the game-changing AI will enable you to have long-term differentiator and long-term value. So how to design AI innovations that create this long-term value? And here I'd like to really stop and think for 1 second, right? That when we talk about AI, and here today we have so many engineers, right? We do need to go beyond data and tech exercise, because we need to focus on how we can create the meaning and focus on delivering value for humans and for businesses. So here are a couple of things we need to keep in mind. First of all, AI is not yet just another technology. It's changing the world, and our role as creators changes. We move from being creator to being a co-creator, orchestrator, while AI becomes a creator. So this is the first thing that we should consider. And then if we look at the costs and the way it impacts it, it will be significant impact on costs. Demand for human creation changes as well. The other aspect I always like to look at is that we are really moving from multi-screen design to a multimodal design. Think of an easy example, like for instance, at the moment, if you want to order pizza and you go on the Uber Eats app, you're doing a couple of clicks, right, and then your pizza is delivered. AI Realm changes this situation also, because it's not that we are going to have it only with interaction with the app, right, but it's going to be voice, it's going to be everywhere around. Linguistic, visual, and gestures come in place. Besides moving from the screen to multimodal design, we will have new kind of inputs, and I'm going to talk about them a bit later today. So not only our roles have changed and the conditions, but also the tools and approaches and methodologies that we are using should change accordingly as the reality has changed. There is a wonderful book written by one of my colleagues, Alexandra Denin. So she elaborates on many different frameworks for human AI-centric solutions, and I would really recommend to read it. Many of the ones that are there, we present here today as well. So I think the easiest way to explain how this realm changes is by bringing this metaphor, which we also use at work. So imagine that you were trained for decades to design a car. You are very good at designing cars. You think about all the aspects of designing it. You think about how to make it safe, how to make it look cool, how to, how to make it move fast. You even think of the engine sound that it would be appealing to everybody else around. So you know how to do it, you train your teams how to do it, and you're using all the approaches. And then somebody comes in and asks you to design a helicopter. So designing a helicopter requires very different methodology, different expertise, and different knowledge, right? So what we see happens often is that we smash the helicopter, put wheels on top of it, and we are like, oh yeah, it's moving, like great, and it has this funny thing on the top. So, and then somebody who actually understands the aerospace, like an engineer who specializes in the development, design, and testing of the aircrafts, come in and says, yeah, well done, great. But actually, it was supposed to fly. So we see very often that this happens with businesses when we get a mandate from senior leadership, oh, let's do something cool with AI. Right? And then we are applying current methodologies, current knowledge in order to do so without having the right frameworks and the right approaches to do so. So what are the approaches that are relevant today, and which of those approaches we need to let go and say bye to them? So today we are rethinking what human centricity means at core. What does it mean to be human-centric? Or what did it mean to be human-centric? What it meant to be human-centric. Probably most of you are familiar with all the frameworks on the screen, at least I'd assume so if we work in development, right? So these are the classics of design thinking, and human centricity as we knew it for the past 20 years. And I'm not going to go into explaining them in details, but I'm going to try to explain what is changing today and what we need to pay attention to. So for instance, a very dear to us double diamond model, which probably all UX designers or experienced consultants use in their daily work. It is changing, and it is changing today. Models like AI-powered Stingray model for innovation becomes more relevant, as these are not only us today who are designing solutions, this is also AI who designs solutions, AI who creates, and we need to find models to reach synergy working together. Right? So this model, for instance, in this case, is much more applicable. On the other hand, the second thing that we often talk about when it comes to AI realm is that we are moving from UX to hacks. Anybody in the audience knows what HACS stands for? Raise your hands if you're familiar with HACS. Lovely. Wow. Nice. All right, so what the heck is HACS? Work we even say, explain it to me. So HACS stands for Human AI Experience, And these are the people, or your team expertise, that need to develop experiences when it comes with AI. And please note here, it doesn't matter if we talk about internal automations and employee augmentation, or we are talking about customer-facing features that leverage LLM, the capabilities that you do to design this experience should change. Coming back to the beginning, when I ask a question about the meaningful conversation with a chatbot, why very rarely we have those today? Because they're designed by people, brilliant people, but who don't have the necessary knowledge or necessary capabilities to develop those. And what are those capabilities? Hacks is not one person. It's a whole, I see you wanted to take a picture of the slide, I can go back. So it isn't one person, it is the whole world of science meeting different competencies like ethics and regulation, ML and data engineering, cognitive and behavioral sciences, linguistic sciences, service design. And yes, indeed, UX remains super relevant and service design is as relevant as ever, but we do need to add this additional layers and the depth. And the quality of experiences you're designing will really depend on the depth of the expertise of your team. There are many other new things happening out there, right? Such as, for instance, we have a solution of synthetic customers, so the way of testing your solutions and validating them changes as well. So with synthetic customer, for instance, we are able to generate synthetic data to test your solution. So you don't need anymore to hire users and to run user testing, as it can be done with very high accuracy using synthetic data. And of course, the hardware available is advancing. We do at work a lot biometric testing. I'm not sure if any of you is familiar with those, but this is basically like the devices that will can enable us to track your mood and all other aspects like stress levels, which we can actually take and implement in our solutions while designing them. So we get additional layer of insights, which wasn't available up to today. So having this said, there are many things happening, but if you look at it in core, the message is very simple. AI changes the nature of the product. Product design should become more adaptive. Models are changing. We cannot anymore having a hammer, seeing everything as a nail. You cannot slice a bread with a hammer, right? You cannot make a helicopter fly if you're trying to build a car, just putting wheels on it and be happy with its moving. And the nature of products is changing, so should the approaches. The adaptive nature of AI products is that the more we interact with UX, the better it gets, the more users we get, the more data available, ultimately making better. And with AI it's different because it will be learning, it will be getting from all these insights and enhancing experiences on the go. So let's not build the helicopters and, that cannot fly and make them fly, and instead maybe we can even learn to build a rocket that will bring us to entirely unknown new destinations in a human-centric way, so we as people stay here and benefit. Oh, sorry, I had a very beautiful animation, which I want to work. All right, thank you guys for listening. So this is our team, people who also supported to prepare this presentation, and please reach out with questions about it. We can tell you much more about hacks, much more about approaches, frameworks, and how we do it for clients, how we are retraining teams. We're also going to have a panel talk about the future of AI at 12:30 on the main stage. So feel free to join there as well. Thank you.